Good morning, Transpac race fans. I'm Dobbs Davis with Seahorse Magazine, giving you your Wednesday morning, July 17th report on this fabulous race from LA to Honolulu. Here's our fleet on the yellow brick tracker. You can see everybody pretty much in the middle of the track now, except those Monday starters still here heading to Hawaii a little bit faster. They are now 8 days into the race, so they had a little bit of a head start. So let's look at each one of these in a little more detail, but this gives you the big picture of where everybody is on the track. So clicking over on our tabs, we'll first look at the Monday starters. So we'll click off the divisions 1 through 6 and have a look at this, this fleet. So zooming in, Manatea continues to lead. This is quite a big boat, 65 feet. So for them to roll along at 8, 9, and sometimes 10 knots is pretty easy. They've got 518 miles to go at the last scheduled report. Just a reminder for those that haven't been tuning in, this is a 6-hour delay on the yellow brick, and therefore what you're seeing is a little bit delayed. The reason for that is that the teams that have internet access out there and have very good internet access won't have an advantage from those that don't, so therefore can't use the tracker in its live mode for any tactical maneuvers that they might use to give them an advantage on the competition. So Manatea, 6 hours ago, 9 knots, moving along quite well. You can see their track. They're jibing on the shifts, heading on what's probably just a little bit north of a Great Circle route to Hawaii. A little early yet to give any ETA predictions for those, but we'll get to that shortly because actually no, on the Staley standings they don't have that column. In some years they give ETAs, but they've also learned not to do that because that gets everybody a little bit expectant, and then things happen. The wind either increases or decreases so that those ETAs are never accurate. So that's now deleted from our data, but you can do the math yourself, make some guesstimates. 500 a mile to go. They're going 9 knots. However, that's 9 knots in this direction. Their VMG is a little bit less. You'd have to make some estimates on what their jibe angles are, do a little math, and see what their VMG is to Hawaii. 10 quarter, the Japanese entry in Division 7. Now they've been having quite a spirited match race with this boat, Kyo, the other Japanese entry in Division 7. The two got separated. 10 quarter went south, Kyo went north. A couple of days ago, Kyo was in the lead, but that southerly track seems to be paying off for 10 quarter. They've now taken the lead. It's not a very big lead, but leads have been swapping back and forth between these two teams. So this is exciting to watch. We'll watch them converge again as they get further down the track west toward Hawaii. I predict this is going to be a real battle as they approach the islands and get into more steady wind directions, and it's going to come back down to not who has leverage in any shifts that come along, but just how fast they sail the boat on their final approach. This class is quite spread out. Manatea 500 miles out, but you can see this boat, the Veneto First 42, St. Vitus Dance, still 950 out. And then Aquarius here in the back is trundling along. They had some problems in the middle of the race, but they seem to be moving nicely now. They're still 1,100 miles out. So we'll see if these guys pick up any speed to converge at all. But my guess is that they'll get passed by some of the faster boats, and we may see them as the last ones to come into Hawaii probably early next week. Now going over to Divisions 4, 5, and 6. As you can see, they're coming up fast on Divisions 7 and 8 and are well into the back of Divisions 7 and 8. We'll move over here and look at them a little more detail. Criminal Mischief, we saw them take the lead yesterday. You can see by their arcing track they are on quite a fast starboard tack jibe, crossing the fleet. Now they've gotten lifted enough that judging by this turn here, we're seeing them jibe back to port. This may have been one of their first jibes in this phase of the race. From now on, it's going to be VMG sailing for them. into Hawaii. That's a very interesting mode. I mean, over here it was fast mode. Now they're going to get into sailing it more like a downwind leg as you would in a buoy race. So they're moving along at 11.5 knots, 223, good pace, 947 miles to go. The other boats to have a look at here leading Division 6 is Horizon, Santa Cruz 50. Again, they've been very consistent in leading their pack of 50s. This team has won, I believe, 2 Transpacks in their division in prior years. 8.3 knots, they're moving along nicely. Just looking at, if you move your cursor off a boat, you can see what the wind conditions are at the time that this position was recorded, and 44 degrees, 15 knots of wind. It's not a huge amount of wind, but it's certainly enough to have good sailing. There's a little bit more, 16 knots of wind, so these are fairly good conditions. The reports coming from the boats by email are very upbeat and encouraging. The guys are having a good time out there. Lots of different and sundry reports of great meals and in a few cases some great fishing and some other other fun times that really draw people to do this race. But the bottom line is they're moving along nicely. Up here in the north, this Santa Cruz 52 Medusa, not going quite as fast, 7.5 knots. Now going north is always a little bit dangerous at this phase of the race because of getting close to some light air that happens further up north in the high pressure zones. But these guys are setting themselves up for an expected shift. We'll look at that soon when we come into the weather. I like these two here, Prevail and West Coast Warrior. Very different types of boats. West Coast Warrior, a J125, Prevail, Santa Cruz 52, but you can see them very close. My guess is that their tracks are probably going to cross. They'd be sailing at slightly different angles, with Prevail being a Santa Cruz 52, more of a cruiser racer style design, the J125 being a carbon fiber sprit pole boat, likely a little bit faster, 8.5 knots versus 7.8. So those two will probably separate in the next sked. And then down here, Bodacious 4. These guys were doing very well, leading the Santa Cruzes a day or two ago. Right now, their leverage way out here is very interesting, and we'll see into the next, as I get into the next phase of the broadcast, why this going south might be very beneficial. So they're setting themselves up for a southerly move, and when we look at the weather, we'll know why. But these are, and then Foil, the Far 40, continues to lead Division 5. They've been very consistent in their track, as you can see, no doubt treating this like a VMG leg. So let's turn those guys off and turn on our Division 1, 2, and 3 boats. As you can see, when I turn them on, they're really very much overlap with the other divisions. But what's interesting to see with these fast boats that started last Saturday is that they're really positioned far to the south, sagged down. The rest of the boats, as you remember, were up in this area. These guys are opting, in fact, jibing to go to the south. So this is a concerted move in their part to really get away from the middle and northerly parts of the track. Leading this group down here is Pelagroso. This boat is a Kernan 70. They're doing. Yesterday, I think they were doing very well in corrected time using ORR scoring, but no doubt doing the same here. So that's why they have the crown, 11.6 knots. Lucky, a TP52, is very close here with Vincitori, which is a Mexican 52, not quite in TP52 class trim, but still a very fast boat. If we turn those guys off and just look at Division 3, this is the sled division, and Paiwak continues to lead. As you can see by them jibing, this looks very much just like a tactical game. They're just trying to stay in front of their group here. These are the boats they want to beat, but having very good ratings in ORR, they're also set up nicely to do well in overall scoring. Now 10.5 knots, and then down here reporting 15 knots of wind. That's not bad, but not great. Remember that we've been saying the last couple of days that these guys in this position are in danger from an overtaking zone of light air, which we'll look at here in a moment. Last but certainly not least, our Division 1 players. These are our fastest boats out on the course, aside from the multi-hulls. And where we saw a match race between Ragamuffin and Maserati over the last couple of days, you can see that Ragamuffin has very much sprinted out ahead. 17.7 knots of boat speed, Maserati only at 11. Now, what we understood from a report on Maserati earlier yesterday, or perhaps that was early this morning, but in Italian time, the PR agency said that they've broken a gear on their primary port winch, which is a pretty important winch because that helps in the spinnaker trimming. So now these guys are good. I'm sure they've adapted to that, but that little gear failure is a tough one because primary winch, of course, is really important for fast kite trimming, and these guys sail very aggressively. I mean, these are the types of teams that really trim on every wave and really get the most out of the boat. So perhaps that's affecting their performance a bit, but it also could be just a zone of light air. You can see by their zigzag track, they're jibing on shifts. They're being pretty aggressive at treating this like a VMG leg, whereas if you look at Ragamuffin, they seem to be committing to this high track. Not quite sure why, because it's a little bit different than what we're seeing in the weather progs, but perhaps they know something about what's going on up here, or this is just their favorite angle for the sail combination they have up now. Over here, Bad Pack is actually leading in ORR scoring for this class. Bad Pack and STP 65, and going quite nicely, 12.3 knots. Now, the other boat to watch here, of course, is Wizard. This is our Barn Door Trophy contender. So boat for boat, they're leading the non-powered winch or powered systems boat. So therefore, they're eligible for the Barn Door Trophy. They're moving along nicely, 9.5 knots. It's very interesting when you look at this because they're keeping up with the Volvo 70. Now, there is a performance crossover with the Volvo 70. When you get into lighter winds, they really struggle a bit, and they're going to really have a hard time staying ahead of Wizard, and certainly have a hard time keeping up with Ragamuffin. But as the breeze increases, then the Volvo 70 really speeds up. So we'll watch for some seesawing back and forth between these two teams. Poked out here to the south, actually we saw them before, Pelagroso, so we'll see why that's precipitating that move. I also wanted to point out that we have this HPR division. These are boats in Divisions 1 and 2 that are eligible for HPR trophies for this race. We'll turn off Division 1. And out of this group, Pelagroso is leading the pack. We'll see how that progresses. Up here, Bad Pack going up to the north. So let's keep our eyes on these two over the next day and see what's going on with the weather. Here is our familiar model, the European model of what's going on actually in real time now. I'll refresh this just to give you an idea of what this model is showing here in real time. Keep your eye on blue. Blue are the isobars. So 1016 isobar, 1020, 1024. As you can see, the high is done as it was predicted, gone off to the west. Hawaii here, and starting point in Los Angeles here. I'm going to zoom in a bit because now our fleet is concentrated more in this area. Now, yesterday we talked about these isobars spreading out, causing a zone of light air. We'll change this over to show how the model predicts wind speeds based on those the positions of the isobars. And as you can see here, the lighter color blues and light purples, or lavender, whatever the color that you think that is, that's light air up there. The boats that were coming down the track and were a little bit behind were in danger of getting into that. Now, as we go forward in time, watch what happens. So here is about this time tomorrow. You can see how this zone of light air has actually expanded a bit, is coming down on the course, particularly in the north. But one thing that catches my eye is the zone down here, south of the track. Remember, the track orientation is about this axis here. As further south you go, you get into more pressure. So 18, 20, 25 knots of wind down in here, well to the south, whereas it's a bit lighter up here. This I think, is a reason that the boats are probably seeing this in their grid files and electing to dive south. Certainly that HPR division and the Division 2 boats, the TP52s, that whole pack of boats, they were really sticking closely together, and everybody as a group were heading south and probably trying to get into this better pressure here. So that's my interpretation of what they're up to. The last part of my show will be to show you these standings. I don't think these are posted on the website just yet, but this gives you an idea of where things are, assuming recent VMGs, recent progress on the course, and where they are relative to their ORR rating. So Bad Pack leading Division 1 in corrected time. Their average speeds 13.3 knots. Now, one thing to notice here is that these average speeds have been actually trickling down in the last day or two, in coincident with the lighter winds that are happening on the course. Ragamuffin, that a couple of days ago was at 17 knots, is now down at 15. So this is going to change all their ETAs and progs as they come in toward the islands. But Bad Pack now leading that division nicely. Actually, not nicely. Only 4 minutes. So so it's actually quite close in corrected time with Invisible Hand. Wizard a couple hours back, but that could all change. All right, in Division 2, Lucky is now leading. They have almost a 2-hour, well, 1.5 hour lead on BCOM. BCOM was taking an early lead. As you can see, BCOM's quite a bit faster than Lucky, but Lucky with a slower rating is correcting out over them at the moment. Down here, Division 3, Pyewacket leading in real time as well as corrected time. They're doing a very nice job here. Them and Grand Illusion, while not fighting boat for boat, because their two are separated out on the course, they're certainly leading here in corrected time and also overall fleet results. So as I've been predicting, I think this division is typically what you see as doing very well in the fleet when you look at ORR scoring. Resolute doing well in Division 4, even though Criminal Mischief is out ahead. Criminal Mischief has actually been climbing a bit in the corrected time standings, but Resolute continues to lead that division, quite a healthy margin, 5.5 hours. Foil also leading in Division 5 by a healthy margin, almost 4 hours over Pipe Dream. Horizon, we've seen them on the track doing well. That's, what is that, almost a 5-hour margin. And in Division 7, 10 Quarter and Sanssouci, I mean, this is going to be boat for boat. 45 minutes in corrected time, that really means nothing. So these guys are going to be duking it out boat for boat. And then Keo a little bit further back. Now, we'll see. They're leveraged to where they could bring that back, and this could be a very strong fight indeed. But here, look at Division 8, and who's leading that division? 1932 S&S Design Classic Wooden Yawl Dorade. It's really great to see that boat's still competitive. They're leading their class by a couple of hours right now in corrected time, and not doing too badly in the fleet either. 4th in the fleet. That's pretty amazing. Their arch rival, of course, is the Lapworth 50, another wooden classic boat, Westward. But they've got a little bit of catching up to do in corrected time. Nonetheless, this top class here in Division 8, these could be quite competitive in the next day or two. Now, as you can see here in the multi-hull division, Lending Club, of course, the only boat on the course. Perhaps I should go back to showing them actually, because they had an interesting move that's worthy of note here in the tracker. Sorry, we'll find Division 0. And that is, what are they doing up here? Well, of course, the decision to go to make that turn and head north is certainly a risky one. But the team is obviously setting themselves up for a big leverage jibe over. I've got actually access to the live tracker, so I can see what's going on. But certainly, you don't get this far out without expecting a big turn. And in fact, I think now they have made a big turn and heading south. So we could they've set themselves up for this. Now, it could be, that they really need to come in strong. They don't have a competitor anymore now that Fado is off the track. Fado, by the way, is right here. They're progressing back toward Los Angeles. They've slowed down a bit to conserve fuel, but we have a report from that team that they're teed up with food and fuel. They're sending a boat out to intercept them off the California coast, so I think this team will be in fine shape for getting back safely ashore. So that's our report for today. I'm Dobbs Davis from Seahorse Magazine. Please follow us along on Facebook as well. There's a lot of great reporting and covering from my colleague Jeremy Leonard. He's providing a lot of info on Facebook that's provided from the teams that helps give you a little bit of an insight to life on board. So for now, I'll sign off, and I'll see you tomorrow.